All right, and hello again to YouTube, just YouTube this time. What's up, what's good with Crackin? My name is Crackin Atkins, and I'm here with a video for Guilty Gear Strive. So the Strive patch 1.10 just came out. It was a pretty big one. There was a lot of, the one thing that I think everybody kind of looks at immediately is going to be the character changes to see what exactly happened to the characters, what new toys they got, what nerfs they got. But there's also a lot of big just system changes that happened with this patch that I think are pretty impactful and are going to have case by case really strong implications for a lot of characters in the game. Specifically for the purpose of this video, I kind of just want to look over May, or kind of explore a little bit about what she got in this patch and how I'm feeling about the character in this patch, because I think her changes are pretty interesting. She gained access to some things that I wouldn't think to give her but at the same time I think there's some changes to her game that are actually pretty significant and is going to really switch up how the character plays on a matchup by matchup basis. So the first thing I want to do is actually just kind of read through the notes and showcase some qualities about the actual changes and kind of give my thoughts on them. So starting with the initial paragraph about the balance and tensions, they say the balance changes increase the return of landing aerial attacks, which so for context, when the patch first dropped, the first thing I did was scroll down to May and I wanted to read what was going on and see what type of time we're on, right? That being the first sentence that I read felt kind of weird, because it was just like does May really have trouble getting return on landing aerial attacks? I think there are characters in the game that pre-patch did. I don't think May was one of them. I think May was doing just fine in landing aerial attacks, any damage. But anyways, combined with additional Gatling routes for aerial moves, this greatly develops aerial combos, which I definitely agree with. We'll go over that a little bit later. We adjusted the effects of uncharged 6 heavy slash, as it was not commonly used and less rewarding than our other normal moves. Due to now being easier to follow up on and overall damage increase, we have removed the wall bounce effect, which is something that makes sense to me. 6 heavy slash not charged is not something I would use very often at all. If I'm using 6 heavy slash, it's going to be the charged version. I'm usually going to be looking for a guard crush or for a wall break, but just using 6 heavy slashes, but it's just not something that I do. However, her combos in the stage corner remain powerful, as it is now easier to combo from her sweep into Mr Dolphin vertical, which is a decent change. Sweep is also something that I don't use too often. I think a real big, I know this was a change to the corner, but just generally speaking, a real big reason why I don't use the sweep is because she has 3K. And 3K generally, like, pre-patch felt like the thing that you wanted to route into. You don't really necessarily want to go into sweep, but this is specifically a buff for sweep in the corner, which should help some of her corner confirms, I'm imagining, especially up to 2K, but we'll cover that a bit later. Previously, the counter strategy to Mr. Dolphin horizontal has been to beat it with fast moves such as standing P. However, in order to prepare more counters to lunging attacks, it is now more likely to lose to 6P as well, which is a big change. Giving the upper body invul universal move to everyone as a more direct counter to Totsugeki, I think is something that is going to have a huge impact in May's neutral game and keep her a little bit more honest with how she constructs frame traps, especially at a ranged distance. So I just want to go, that was like the balance intentions paragraph, a little forward there. I kind of just want to go through each of these changes individually now. So first change is the sweep. Creates less distance from the opponent on hit in the stage corner. So basically what this is doing is giving her more access to combo capabilities off of her sweep, but only specifically in the corner. Sweep, like previously, I think you were able to get like a Mr. Dolphin or horizontal or something like that. I don't know. It's not something that I was like super inclined to use pre-patch, but now you do get some pretty good openings to where off of sweep can get a heavy up Dolphin, which is going to give you a combo. You can Gatling into the sweep off your 2K, which is your low, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, off of the low, that's pretty good. 2K isn't the only thing you have. You also have 5K that can go into sweep. The only thing is you need to make sure that you're close enough for the up heavy Dolphin to hit. So basically at a point blank range, you know, you can get something like this if the wall wasn't unpredictable. Yeah, so nothing wrong with that, you know, getting full corner conversions off of 2D now. I think it's a pretty solid change. You know, anything that's going to be upping her damage in the corner is just making her better in something that she already succeeds at, but having it be off of a low starter like 2D, it's pretty cool. I'll take it. Okay, so moving on to the next change received is actually going to be in regards to her 6P. So for her 6P, it now floats the opponent up higher, while also reducing the horizontal distance they're sent flying back, and they removed the wall bounce effect. So this is kind of a seemingly universal change that they did to characters across the board here for this Strive patch. It's kind of altering 6Ps, making them more useful. So basically when you land a 6P, characters are closer to you. They don't get hit farther away, so this gives access for some characters to get bigger confirms off of landing 6P, which is most commonly used as a anti-air as such. Now, in my opinion, this comes off as mostly a nerf for Mei. In the corner, she did used to get loops off of her 6P with her 2K that would give her some very nice corner confirms, which aren't there anymore, right? Since off of the 6P, you're no longer getting a wall bounce, you can no longer loop. Now that doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't get combos off of hitting a 6P in the corner. She can. They're just kind of odd, because the thing that you need to remember about Mei in comparison to other characters when it comes to using her 6P, she is a charge character. So getting a confirm off of a button like 6P where you are hitting forward likely means that you're either not going to be able to combo into a charge special move right after, or you're going to have to be insanely woke in order to do so. In an effort to showcase the latter thing that I'm prefacing here, one thing that is possible to do, I don't know if I'm gonna suggest to do it, but like, it's an option. If you have down charge, you can do 6P into up Dolphin as like that, and I think heavy up Dolphin works as well, and you get a full combo. The issue with this is like, so the most common scenarios for hitting 6P as a non-anti-air would be sort of as like a barre tool or a call out on some characters' approaches. I would sometimes use this in the Leo and Soul matchups and would get a little bit of success out of it. And the risk reward of that previously was like, with them being in the corner, if you catch them trying to hit a button or trying to escape, or they just run into it, you get your wall bounce, you get your 2K loops and everything. But you kind of want to be, it's best to have some mobility around that when you're looking to bait an option as such. In order to get the conversion into the heavy Dolphin, you kind of have to be sitting point, like you just have to be sitting here basically, and then have it happen, and then you get your heavy up Dolphin, right? Not to mention you need to be pretty close for that to be a thing. So I'm not sure how I'm feeling about how practical I think this is. But that's only going from the context of normal hit. I think normal hit is a bit spooky for 6P conversions in the corner and stuff. Counter hit, you have some options. You know, you get like a actual float, so. Counter hit, you do have some options, and I mean, that's due to the fact of the counter hit slowdown and the extra hits done, making it possible for you to, rather than having to already have a charge before you hit the 6P off the normal hit in order to get the up Dolphin, you can charge your Dolphin during the 6P hits done to get a combo, meaning you could get like a H Dolphin. Like that. So that's an option that you have if you happen to hit a 6P against a like standing or approaching or like grounded opponent as a counter hit, which is pretty nifty. But the most common uses for 6P is going to be as anti-airs, and of course, you know, may land a few. but I also think her conversions here are a little odd. To demonstrate. Yeah, so she does get some stuff. It's going to be really dependent on what she's anti-airing and how the opponent is floating, because I can't really say for now there's anything that's super consistent off of like, oh yeah, off of 6p you're gonna get this. You're gonna need to be a little bit more accountable of like what 6p is hitting and what you're looking to get. I mean, I guess the base level thing is that the cancel thing still works, but you can actually still get like, I know there's a situation where you can still get like a 5s or a 2s as a anti-air confirm. Yeah, so I think this is her 6p, with it being so different and with Mei being a charge character and needing to think a little bit more outside of the box for her 6p confirms. I think this is something that will develop more with time. I think it's something that I personally am still kind of trying to figure out, but it could be useful. I mean, like the 6p, you just getting the dolphin in the corner, the heavy dolphin for loops and stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. And due to the new air Gatling system, there may be some significance on what she's able to get in the mid screen as well. It's just going to take a little bit of time to develop. Okay, moving on to her 6 heavy slash. I think this is her best buff. So basically what they did was they changed the way that the hit looks. Let me turn off counter hit. Yeah, so it sends the opponent flying up on a grounded hit. There's also some other changes they did to it, to where they reduced the amount of risk level decrease and reduced the amount of combo blowback scaling increase. I think this is a very good change for Mei. Basically, it's because of the type of pop-up that you do get on the grounded hit. I think it's heavily incentivized for her to use this not only in combos but in pressure a bit more, and that's simply because it does more base damage than your 6 heavy slash or your 2 heavy slash, as this, or sorry, it does more base damage than your 5 heavy slash or your 2 heavy slash. The 6 heavy slash also tends to prorate better. It can get you some higher base damage on some combos. So for example, let's just do like a typical combo that I would do pre-patch. So in the most so going from 282 to 291, not bad. Something else that's worth mentioning is because of air Gatling changes, her damage can increase even more. So it's just something that's going to be worth playing around with the 6 heavy slash. I think the thing I really want to highlight in this video is this string specifically, 5s into 6 heavy slash. So basically, I think 5s and a 6 heavy slash has more usability outside of combos, and actually has some pretty good usability on block. The link within it is actually a frame trap, and it can beat 4-frame or slower normals and trade with 3-frame normals, which has some pretty big significance on a matchup by matchup basis. So we'll use Mei as an example for now. So I have Mei mashing a 5-frame normal. This is a frame trap and you get a counter hit off of that. Now this isn't too different from things that she already has, such as her 5s and a 2 heavy slash, right? However, there's some reasons why I feel like in this patch you may be less inclined to go for frame traps such as this, which I'll cover maybe a little bit later when we start talking about Totsugeki. But for now, I want to talk about kind of like the reward that you can get off of 5s 6 heavy slash, because it's pretty big. So if we're talking meterless, you can get some pretty good damage. Yeah, so definitely a lot of damage that's able to be done meterless. I don't even know if that's like the max, there may be even more. If we're talking 1 bar, So if we're talking typical one bar, you can get a little bit more damage. However, off of this 6 heavy slash counter hit, there is another route that you can go for, which is quite hilarious, which I'll demonstrate now. Yeah, so off of the reverse well hit with your super, you can get even more damage and maintain the corner off of 1 bar. I think there's even bigger combos that are available off of just 1 bar through getting the 6 heavy slash counter hit opening, especially in the corner. So that's great. And then, of course, if you're fully locked and loaded, of course, with full resources, you can get a TOD. A bit like, I think in the situations where, of course, where you open up with somebody with a frame trap in the corner, it's not unlikely that you will have resources. You may have already like gotten a previous positive bonus or something like that. But yeah, the TOD is kind of a meme. I think really the big part is definitely having access to the 6 heavy slash of the frame trap to beat 4 frame or slower normals. I kind of want to pick Soul to demonstrate how it works with 3 and 4 frame buttons. All right, so I have Soul to mash jab, which is a 4 frame button. And as you can see there, May's frame trap still wins. So the aforementioned things still work in this situation. The question is going to be, so Soul's stand A is a 3 frame button. So let's see how this interacts. Actually gonna trade. So with that being said, it's definitely more advantageous to go for the 2 heavy slash frame trap against like Soul or Soul like characters have a 3 frame button if you're correct on guessing on their frame trap and it's not blocked. But if you do commit to 6 heavy slash, which is a potentially safer option, you can still get a combo. You just kind of gotta be woke, but it's a thing. Watch. A bit of a disclaimer, in the middle of this video, I made a little bit of a mistake and there's Twitter audio overlaid over my game audio and my voice. So there's some stacking audio and it doesn't sound great. My apologies. I'll do better next time. Yeah, so through using our trusty friend, the 6 heavy slash buff, off of the trade, we could still get a confirm using 5k into the 6 heavy slash. So those are just a few reasons why I think the 6 heavy slash is pretty good, or can be very usable as a frame trap tool, even for characters that have a 3 frame button. Now, I guess the question you'd be asking is, mid screen, do you get anything off of like this same exact concept? And the answer would be yes. So yeah, you can even get corner carry, you can get a dash up close slash. Funny enough, it's easier. So the dash up close slash off of this frame trap is something that you're able to get in the corner as well. You try it and let me know. It's harder for me to get this in the corner for some reason, as opposed to mid screen. I get this very easily mid screen. Like, it's easy. It's like, I don't know why it's way easier to get mid screen than it is in the corner. But yeah, basically you're able to get conversions off this frame trap no matter what, which is cool. I'd highly recommend getting used to utilizing 6 heavy slash in your combos, utilizing 6 heavy slash in your frame traps. And also, I mean, I think this is worth mentioning of like previously with May, if you're doing like a 5 slash into 5 heavy slash or 5 slash into 2 heavy slash, you can keep your charge the entire time while going for those types of strings, whereas 6 heavy slash, right, it ends forward. So it's going to be worth learning the skill of being able to get a charge timing and charge cancel off of your 6 heavy slash. You know, even though it starts with a forward input, you can still have enough time to input a dolphin. You just have to input it in like the latter frames. This works for up dolphin as well, as you can see there. The best advice I can give is just get used to, as soon as you tap the 6 heavy slash, and as soon as you're aware that the startup frames are going, just immediately go to down back, or immediately go to back, or immediately go to whatever that you want to charge, and then get comfortable with, you don't want to cancel in the early part of the active frames of May's 6 heavy slash. You want to cancel it in the more latter portion of her 6 heavy slash, just to make sure that you're allowing yourself enough time to actually have the charge to get your input out. So yeah, just some food for thought there. And now going into the dolphin changes. So they changed her Mr. Dolphin vertical and horizontal. Basically for the horizontal, they increased the base damage scaling and they reduced the hitbox below. Whereas for the vertical dolphin, they increased the base damage scaling on the ascent, reduced the hurt box above during the ascent, and increased the distance from which the attack can connect. This was slightly mentioned earlier as to why we're able to get the 2K 2D confirms. That is as a result of the 2D buffs and the up dolphin buffs. I more specifically want to talk about horizontal dolphin, because this is the big one. So basically, there's no secret that this is a big part of May's game. Like, I don't even want to say anything isolated. Like, it's a big part of her neutral game, it's a big part of her pressure game, going into the dolphin. This is basically a core kind of tool of her game plan in being like a Blanca Ball or a Honda style character. This change to her dolphin does allow for a bit more counterplay against it, specifically in the form of opponents doing 6P, which I'll demonstrate now. So 6P, as we know, has upper body invulnerability, meaning now, previously this was not too much of a thing, or it could be on a character by character basis, but it wasn't too reliable. She can get 6P'd out of her dolphin. Now, in terms of a frame trap type of thing of what I just demonstrated here, it is more, you still can like frame trap people that are trying to 6P you out of your dolphin if you're comfortable and recognize your ranges, right? So if you're at like this range, right, and you're creating enough space within your strings, right, you can still counter hit somebody for trying to go for a 6P. It just, because of how the 6P functions now, it puts a lot more accountability on the May player in 2 aspects. One, you need to recognize the amount of space you're creating in between your frame traps and block strings to make sure that you're not opening up a 6P window like that. And do something more like that. And 2, recognize that at your max ranges, if you're not able to create a frame trap that's tight enough to not allow for 6P to come out, to not commit to the dolphin so that you don't explode. Because from these far range buttons, like from these further range buttons, there's definitely going to be instances where there's not going to be any type of timing that you can do without getting 6P'd, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. I've been seeing a lot of discourse saying that basically like her frame trap off of Totsugeki is dead. I don't really think that is the case. I think it's just there's a lot more accountability on the May player now, for sure, with this change to how her Totsugeki operates. Which leads me, ironically, back to her 6 heavy slash. So previously the main frame trapping tool you would see from May would fall under doing 5S and a 2 heavy slash, right? Now, with the way that her Totsugeki previously worked, is pretty low risk to where 2 heavy slash has a lot of recovery, right? It has a ton of recovery. You never want to end pressure with that move or you're gonna explode, right? So previously it wasn't too bad of an idea to go into Totsugekis and even go into a heavy Totsugeki to keep your turn, but basically you would never end with 6 heavy slash. It's not a good idea. Now with the new 6P change, strings like that are just not real. Like if you're doing like a 5 slash 2 heavy slash and you're trying to do a heavy dolphin, that's a free 6P for the opponent. Now you can still frame trap with the slash dolphin, you know, as I mentioned. You just got to be a little bit careful of your timing. That does lead me into my stance that I think 6 heavy slash may be worth looking into for Mei players as a frame trap tool, just because it's a bit safer on block and has a good amount of pushback. So to be precise, ending with 2H puts you at -20, which is ridiculous. Whereas ending with a 6 heavy slash puts you at -8. So I have the dummy here recorded through the 5S 6 heavy slash and then just go straight in the block. So since the heavy slash is -8 and I'm controlling Soul Bad Guy at the moment, the normal moves that he has access to that based off of a frame data perspective could hit Mei would be 5P, 5K, close slash, 2K, and 2P. So let's see how all of these options work. Okay, so 5P does make contact, but she's quite a bit of ways away. And something worth mentioning there that I'm editing is that could lead to a knockdown in the form of a 6 heavy slash. 5K makes contact as well, but the second hit whips. You only get the first hit. 2K can make contact. Again, she's quite a bit of ways away. 5P can make contact. Let's try close slash. Oh, you don't get a close slash, you get a far slash. So yeah, just saying that to say that like the risk reward on a case-by-case basis of ending with a 6 heavy slash may not be too awful, especially if you're considering the fact of remember, we're doing the 5/6 heavy slash as a frame trap, and if you as a Mei player are keeping your opponent accountable and throwing in Totsugekis there, they have access to the 6P now and they have access to counter pokes. They may be scared and looking for the Totsugeki, and you may be able to end on -8, which is going to leave you less likely to get punished. Let's say we have an opponent that's like mashing 6P, right? As you can see there, if an opponent is mashing 6P in anticipation of you doing Totsugeki and you don't do the Totsugeki, you can blow them up for that. You can actually whiff punish them for committing. So that's just something that I think is worth keeping in mind, and that's something that you wouldn't have access to if you're using 2 heavy slashes to frame trap, because again, you're -20. You're basically regaining 12 frames that you didn't previously have. So just some food for thought. It is kind of like a mix-up mind game that's still at play with the Totsugeki present. I don't see the 6P as an end-all be-all Mei killer or anything like that. I just see it as a you know, a little bit more mind games and like a minor inconvenience when it comes to using Totsugeki at further ranges. But Totsugeki is so strong and you will still get counter hit. Okay, so that's kind of the end of Mei's specific changes to her. But again, remember, we have big universal changes that happen as far as like air Gatlings, where normals are dash cancelable and jump cancelable, and like the way the whole entire air Gatling system works and such. To read specifically what it says within the patch, rather than paraphrasing. So basically, jump slash and jump heavy slash got the same change of the move triggers a higher counter effect than previously, and they can now be jump canceled and air dash canceled, and they added the Gatling route to JD. The same things happen to characters JD, where there's now a counter hit effect and you can jump cancel it and air dash cancel it. For Mei, this was a huge universal buff, or universal change that ended up buffing her quite a bit in relation to her hit confirms. So previously, when landing something like this, right, if you wanted to spend a bar for a confirm, you may go for a combo such as Yeah, something like that to just allow for you to get some corner carry off of the Roman cancel and try to carry your opponent to the corner. This wasn't always possible. Like there would be ranges such as like right here where you try to do that and you wouldn't quite be able to reach the corner. You would need to go for another route such as like something like that. Imagine that we weren't actually getting the corner, but you go for a route like that, right? With the new air Gatling changes, that's actually her corner carry is buffed quite a bit, and so is her damage potential off of hit confirms quite a bit, such as so you can do things like that and get a bit more damage off of your hit confirms if you want to use a bar. This works on multiple things. I mean, you know, it's kind of like whatever you want to do. Even off of just like a, you know, a singular Totsugeki. You know, a myriad of different options available for corner carry and big damage, which is good, significant, definitely a big buff there for me when it comes to single hit confirms to allow for a carry to the corner better, do this new air Gatling system, and get a ton of damage. There's some more eccentric stuff that you could do, as I was posting on Twitter, like for example, if we're using our old friend here, 5/2 heavy slash, you can get some pretty interesting confirms. Yeah, so there's routes such as that. Routes like that can even lead to like side swap wall breaks or crazy stuff like that. You do some crazy stuff such as this, huge damage, wall break, safe jump, you know the vibes. So yeah, all around, I think this universal mechanic change helps Mei out quite a bit, and it's only, you know, you can check Twitter now, you can check the GG Strive Mei hashtags now. There's a lot of different routes that are being figured out given these universal changes in relation to her character specific changes that she received as well. But yeah, that's mostly the overview of what Mei received and how it works here in the new Strive patch version 1.10. I guess as far as my overall thoughts, I think Mei comes out comparatively stronger than her previous version in some instances. You know, air Gatling being a thing and her sweep and her 6 heavy slash I think are amazing changes for her, but I do think the nerf to her Dolphin, as I said, it's not killing the game plan at all. It's just putting a little bit more accountability on her using the Dolphin, which is going to make it tougher for her to frame trap, but by no means do I think that the Dolphin in itself is dead. It just has to be used a little bit differently, and I think it's going to be putting a lot of accountability on the Mei player to figure out how they construct their frame traps and such. But with the 6 heavy slash buff, that is a good thing to kind of have available as well. Now I think the thing when it comes to this 1.10 patch is we can compare Mei to her previous version and I can say that she is overall better, but if we're comparing Mei to the changes that other characters received as a whole, if we're talking like Ranmathal changes or we're talking like Naga Ryuki changes, I would say it feels like there was definitely a focus on this patch to buff lesser moved tools in characters' kits, even if they're already a good character, just getting some more diversity and making sure that every move in a character's kit is being used, which I think is a smart thing. I think on a case-by-case basis, some characters benefited a bit more or got basically some cooler or better tools, or like maybe even like more changes than Mei did, because I think Mei is a little bit on the slim side as far as what she got in comparison to some aforementioned characters. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think the character is still great. I think the character is still going to be prominent, and it's definitely the character that I'm going to be maining, I mean, likely until the end of time at this point. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling on the Strive patch here. I do see myself getting back into this game quite a bit. I've kind of been in the Melty Blood dimension, playing a lot of Melty lately with that just recently coming out. But with the Strive patch coming out, it is a bit refreshing to come back to Strive after a little bit of a 2-week hiatus, because I missed this game quite a bit. I like this game a lot, and I like playing May a lot, so I do see myself getting back on it pretty heavy with the patch, just kind of explore what's going on and get back into the swing of things. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and my thoughts on May here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, definitely sub. I'm so close to 100 subs. If you're watching this and you have not subbed to the channel, be sure to do so for some anime fighting game content, or maybe just fighting game content. I play more than that. I do a podcast. Check out the YouTube channel on Mondays, most Mondays, to see if there's any podcast updates, which is also posted on Spotify and SoundCloud. That's Crackin Atkins podcast. But for now, that's all I have, and you take it easy. And something worth mentioning there that I'm editing is that could lead to a knockdown in the form of a 6-7.